Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Quantum Connection. Oh, I started over. I already messed up. That was our old name. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Quantum Health Connection podcast. My name is Heather Crimson. I am here with my lovely co-host, Vanessa Baldwin. And today we have a guest, Dr. Erica Mattia, who is a quantum biology expert. She has the most amazing origin story, how she came about into quantum biology through a spiritual lens. And she comes with an honors, a Bachelor of Science from McMaster University with a major in biology and a minor in psychology. She is certified as a quantum biology practitioner with the Applied Institute of Quantum Biology. She's also a doctor of chiropractic, a neurofunctional acupuncture provider, and I'm not saying this right, but Graston Certified. You have to correct me. So, Erica, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So excited.
Yeah, we're so happy to chat with you today and learn more about you and your story. So tell us, how did you land at the quantum biology lens and collective into health? Because yeah, we all have our own unique way of how we got there. So let's hear yours.
Sure. Yeah, I do find that interesting to know how people get to it because it kind of comes to you, I find.
Mhm.
Um, yeah, for me, it's like, everything starts way back when, but I always followed kind of a gut instinct or an intuition of like what I wanted to do with my life. So I would just kind of follow that. So I did science. That's where I did biology and psychology. And then I felt like I wanted to do natural healing, natural medicine.
Mm.
And that when I looked it up, actually I had friends in kinesiology because in biology is very like focused on the cells and all that. But my friends in kinesiology were understanding the human body a lot more. And they were like, oh, if you want to do natural medicine, look at chiropractic. So I thought, okay. So I Googled it or whatever it was back then. And I was like, oh, cool. You heal with your hands. That sounds good. So I applied for the school, but kind of in the back of my mind, I thought I probably would rather be a naturopath, but
Mm.
I want to try something that's more difficult. I think I was like really stuck in like a masculine energy. I wanted to, I don't know. I think I felt naturopathy wasn't powerful. I don't know. Now I'm regretting my thoughts and feelings on it,
Oh.
right? Like I maybe not because I am where I am and I appreciate that, but
Mm.
had I listened, I'd probably be in a different trajectory right now. But I didn't listen to my intuition in this case. So I went ahead and did chiropractic. And the whole time I was there, I was kind of like, I'm not really a hands-on practitioner type of person. And I did really well with the books, but when it would come to hands-on, I really couldn't, I didn't feel like I understood it like my colleagues did. Like they just knew what they were feeling. And anyhow, so I thought I would finish practice or start practice, and then I would eventually own a holistic facility. But as I started practicing, I felt just like, I hate to say it's like a pun, but out of alignment. Like I just felt like nothing could get me in alignment. And I would be very stressed and didn't want to go to work. And I loved
Mm.
working with my patients. I learned the acupuncture. I loved learning it was a neurofunctional acupuncture too. So you attach
Mm.
electricity. Have you
Oh,
guys
wow.
seen
Oh, wow.
yeah.
No.
Yeah, you hook up cords to the needles and then you can put electricity through. So it really gets like an increased output of what you're getting out of your acupuncture. Yeah. Worked really
Mm.
well. So I
Mm.
enjoyed it. But I still felt like that wasn't my calling. So I took time off from practice. And eventually I was like, I'm just not going to go back. I'm going to retire and see what the universe brings to me. Right.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I started doing other things in between and then um, went through some fertility challenges, had two kids, and then I felt like after having my kids 2 years apart, I was like not well. It was really hard for me. I was very anxious, very, very anxious all the time. I had gained weight and couldn't lose it. Like I just felt
Mm.
unwell. So in my search to feel better, I ended up going on a vacation with a friend to Tulum, Mexico. And I said, I had learned from a friend who is a channel to speak to God, and I call that God, but I will say it's like the universe, spirit, whatever anyone wants to call it, right? But I said to God, like, I need you to heal my brain because I'm so anxious all the time. And we were in Tulum, and that's an energy vortex. And then there's the full moon and all these things going on. And I like joke because what I got was a stomach flu or stomach bug from like, I think shrimp or something in Mexico. But when I came back, this was just about a year and a half ago, in the healing of my stomach, I found so many things I had never heard of. And I thought it was amazing. Like the Quantum Biology Collective is what showed up to me. And all of you guys, like all on my Instagram, all of a sudden I'm finding you guys, and I'm finding Dr. Clinton, and I'm finding like Sarah Kleiner and Sarah, Carrie, and everyone. It was like everyone just showed up at once. Oh, this is the way. And I had been on a bit of like a spiritual journey trying to understand ancient spirit cultures and understanding. I had come to the belief that the sun is like the source of everything. And then quantum biology was like, oh yeah, the sun is the source of everything. So it was a perfect blend. So I had to take the course at the Institute and then finish. And I'm like, this is what I'm meant to do. I'm not a naturopath, but it's kind of like that, you know? And so it feels more totally in alignment. So now I work with patients and clients, and just quantum biology is my thing.
Wow, that is so, so amazing. And I love, Erica, how you were able to move through the science part of it, but not lose your sense of curiosity and wonder, and questioning is so, so powerful, right? So that we can find our way. And there's a point I read in your bio on your website where there's this intersection of something about your Catholic background, and you're sort of, exploring that and taking a second look and starting to think, well, hey, maybe there's something that I need to see here or feel into, right?
Yeah, like we were raised Catholic, but then it really kind of dwindled off in my family, and I have half Italian background, so like extremely Catholic. But I really I would question it when I was at church too. Like I would question it. I'd be like, I don't understand. Why do we have to do this? Why would God do that? Why? And so I just questioned so much that I felt like I didn't have good answers, and I just couldn't blindly believe. And so now I feel like I have the answers, and sometimes I don't. There's obviously lots of answers we don't have, but I'm more comfortable with not having the answers since I have sort of strength in my belief now.
Wow. Yeah, I love that. I love your journey too, how much you shared. It's beautiful. It's beautiful to see. And I love like the whispers, right, of what brought you to where you needed to go, like what, on your path, you're like, okay, this was an alignment. Then I was going here to this place. And then I like all of a sudden these things just kind of show up in your feed. You're like, okay, this is like the direction that you're meant to go, and then doing it. So of course I'm super curious of like, what's the before and after of Erica by, using quantum biology strategies, right? Because I know you were in a really hard time after you had your
Oh, yeah.
children. And then you said you were feeling anxious and like some postpartum things and gaining weight. Like, so what is your before and after of that? How did quantum biology support you?
That's a good question. And I actually tend to avoid talking about that because I always feel like I'm, first of all, not at my after, I don't even know if anyone ever is, but
Like that.
it's only been a year and a half since I've really been applying this, but also I don't know what it is, but I feel like everyone just has their own personal journey. So I don't post a lot of like, this is me and this is where I'm at now, because I do think everyone has their own story. But having said that, I do like to share because it has made a huge difference. Yeah, my anxiety level is decreased drastically. It's not zero. There are certain things that I have to work through, and there are strategies that I have and things to always work on. But it is manageable, and I could live. And all summer, actually, to be honest, all summer I felt amazing. And just as it's become winter here, it's like some of the old things are coming back. But this is my very first winter, a full winter of like knowing even to look at sunrise, to go out for sunrise, right? And so it's like what I tell people as well, it's going to take maybe 3 or 4 winters to really have winter under your belt, because we're kind of getting through that. But so I wake up without feeling exhausted, which is what I was feeling. I sleep great. Like I bought an Aura ring when my kids were, my youngest was like 1, because I wanted to prove to my husband how bad my sleep was. Yeah. I was like, no, I'm telling you it's so bad and I need numbers to show you how bad it is. So I've been using the Aura ring for all those years. My heart rate has gone down a number of numbers. I think it was like 59 or 61, and now it's like 55 on average since those years.
Still really good. That was really good. Even previous was decent, you know?
Yeah, yeah. Like that's like sleeping heart rate, but
Oh yeah.
it's gone down. And then my heart rate variability has also, like when you look at the chart from when I first got my ring to now, has gone up quite a lot.
Mm.
I've lost, I think, about 25-ish, 30 pounds. And most of
Wow.
it's been in the last year because of adding on the simple quantum things. They're actually, like I say to people, it's not that easy to get up for sunrise, but it's harder to go run a marathon. Like if that's your strategy of losing weight, like that's really hard.
And such a hard thing on your body and your hormones and everything
Yeah,
else as a former marathon runner myself, you
I
know.
do, like, just go out for sunrise and eat better meals. And
But that's a big testament of how much that those strategies have made an impact on your metabolism and your
yeah,
hormone. That's huge. That's huge.
yeah. My menstrual cycle, I mean, this is TMI for some people, but it's balanced out. I was needing to use, I hate to say it, but birth control to like not have it terrible every month. I don't do that anymore. And I mean, to me, I haven't made humongoid changes because I have 2 kids. Like we have to still turn some lights on at night, and we still live like we don't eat perfectly quantum all the time and all the things, but I've done so much better that it's like 80/20 really works, you know?
And I think when we're talking about stress, Erica, and I think, the person who has no stress is probably dead, let's be honest. Like there's always going to be some kind of existential, challenge or awareness of like, oh, yeah, there's always risk involved in being alive. But even so, I mean, when we talk about what do we call this, orthorexia or something like that, when we kind of obsess about the things we're doing, and that creates new stress. So there's always this balancing fine line sort of surrender, if you will, of like what's enough. Like even now, like I have a cold, so I'm a little self-conscious doing the podcast, and it's winter, like you said. In winter time, a lot of my symptoms start to sneak back up, and I try everything. I'm outside, but I don't really want to sunbathe when it's 40 degrees out or 30.
No.
So I do other things, but still we have to have that grace and understanding that there's nothing that's perfect. And if you obsess about it and you have to have all the things, and you, God forbid, you miss sunrise, oh my gosh, that actually, to me, what I've think the conclusion that I've come to is that stress, I think when we don't know how to be with what's happening in our lives and manage our internal world, so to speak, that is the worst thing for us. We can be our own worst enemy.
Totally. I agree.
Yeah, 1,000,000%. It's if we're going to stress about all the things instead of just, it's beautiful to learn all this information and apply it and feel better, but like, yeah, you can't stress about it. Like I'm always telling clients that as well, because the stress also reduces our mitochondria efficiency
Yeah.
just as much as non-native EMFs. So like it's just like, all right, like we're here, we know the knowledge, we have the information, and we apply it as best as we can, and in each situation the best way that we can. And nothing is perfect, but consistency does matter. That's what I think is the key,
Yeah.
honestly. So I love that. And I love that you didn't really, you lost weight, but you didn't even change really your diet. I just wanted to bring that up, right? Is that what I heard? Like you didn't really do
Well,
with diet, or you just did more with light? Is that correct?
I did change my diet. I've changed it a lot. So I started as a vegetarian for like a really long time.
Oh, okay.
Right.
No offense to anyone who's vegetarian, but I think that damaged a lot of my my body for doing that for so long. And then I found Bulletproof Diet. You guys know that? Dave
Mhm.
Asprey, that whole thing. This was like 10 years ago. And I was like, whoa, I never thought about nutrition based on human physiology. I just thought on like ideals, I guess, right?
Mhm.
And so that kind of changed my viewpoint, but I have been lost in not understanding nutrition. Like all these years, I try this, I try that, and it's like I don't understand how this works for one person and that works for another. So the idea of like learning quantum And the idea of how you could eat seasonal is brilliant. I'm like, oh, that makes all the sense in the world. Of course, that works for them where they live, and that works for me where I live. And
Yeah,
I've always been like super picky on my meat sources. So I source, a cow and a pig and that kind of thing. That's how we buy it and do it. But I did increase my protein per meal quite drastically, like I guess intentionally, to that 20-ish grams, not being too crazy about measuring or anything like that, but just ensuring I had protein, and then eating seasonal fruits and vegetables, depending. And I do better without gluten. And then the other major thing is having those breaks between meals. So 4-ish hours between meals. Those are the big changes, and they're not really that big or hard, but those are the changes.
Yeah, we need that change to reset our leptin, to have those 4 hours between meals. It was funny. I was talking to Heather just yesterday, actually, because I used to be big into Weight Watchers, and I was going through my phone to delete old videos, and I was doing a motivational talk at like Weight Watchers community, like not like person, but for like their almost like kind of like their Facebook group. And I was looking at the video, and I was talking about how I had to make sure I ate every like 2 hours so I wasn't hangry, right? Or I like go and like raid the cabinets. And I was like, wow, I didn't realize how bad I used to be with that. Like I literally used to eat every 2 hours. It would be like, okay, I had this, and then an hour later I'd be eating a banana, or I'd be like something. Like I had to have something. I was like, wow, that's my blood sugar and my leptin were so dysregulated then. And now I go like 4 or 5 hours without eating, or even like over the winter fast, I'll go like 18 hours and I'm like, I'm fine, So it's just pretty incredible.
It is. And it's freeing. Like you don't have
Yeah.
this food as you're controlling your day, I like it.
There's so
Clears
much more time for other things.
your mind too. It clears up mental space that you can do
Yeah.
other things. So
Yeah, it's so true. It's so true. And for me too, the seasonal eating thing was like, because I was really, and I had, of course, my own chronic illness journey, right? That's what brought me to, quantum and circadian biology too. And I was like trying to find and micromanage my diet. Like I literally had tried every single healing diet there was that you could think of. And I was like, when I learned about seasonal eating, I'm like, wow, that just makes so much
yeah.
sense. And it's like literally the diet we ate before chronic disease existed, and what we ate like naturally, we put in so much other noise and so much like dogma into diet. It's like insane. So it's great.
Yeah, it's so logical when you think about it. You're like, oh, right. If we didn't have transportation, what would we eat? Like,
It's again going back to the alignment that you mentioned earlier when you felt the fit for your career change or focus, right? If in the healing modality. And it's the same thing with the diet. It's all about how do we align with, and it's almost like what would be the most not logical, I mean intuitive, what is the most practical, what is the most available, all those things, right? And so it just falls into place. Not that it's like, I mean, if I were only to eat what grows here in the winter, I probably wouldn't be eating much, let's be honest, in the
yeah.
desert. I'm like, "Ooh."
Oh, yeah.
But within reason, right? We can tailor it
Yeah.
and start eating more hearty root vegetables and whatnot. But
Yeah.
I'm just so curious about, your alignment experience. So alignment with your bodies, what it needs, aligning with nature and the circadian rhythm, and then aligning with your work. So your work satisfaction, I'm guessing, is so much different, and just the comfort and the right? How do you experience it now versus when you were like trying to adjust people or whatever that was about?
Yeah. I enjoy spending time with people talking about what they're going through. So when I was in practice, I would enjoy the like intake and the time that we would chat before the treatment. But then when it came to the treatment itself, I just felt nervous, I guess. Like I just felt like I'm like doing them a disservice. I'm like, you should go to my colleague who's better at understanding that. That's how I would feel. Um, and so now I'm like, when I'm working with people, I don't feel like I'm working. It's as fun as this. Like I just feel like I'm just like
Yes.
you're like, how am I getting paid? Like it just feels like that's I guess what alignment needs to feel like, it feels like fun.
Mhm.
I
The
love that.
energy is so different, right? The energy is totally different inside of
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, what you're doing when you're doing what your passion and your purpose is, it's not like work, right? Like if you're doing what you really truly love and you get up and do it, it doesn't feel like a job. It doesn't feel like a chore. And that's really I mean, I honestly think some people, well, I think a lot of people have chronic disease because they're living out of alignment and they're not doing what their passion and purpose is. And they're just doing their job for the 9 to 5 to make the money. And then they're not really happy with what they're doing in their life every day. And man, that really stinks. I honestly, I've never experienced that. So I don't know what that's like because I was a public school teacher before this and a special ed teacher. And I honestly did love that job in a lot of ways. So I think it's all about how you approach things. And even looking back now, there are things that I know now that I'm like, oh, that was terrible about the way, that whole system. It's the system in itself. But with the way I ran my classroom was good. Like the way I did things, I made a big difference for those kids in their lives. And that's what fuels me, like, living that passion and purpose and like knowing that you're making a difference in that person's life at a fundamental level. And that's why I think I love this job as much too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, so as a chiropractor, I felt like I was giving people one piece of 100-piece pie, that maybe more, and I always felt like I would send them home with a list of 20 more things they could do because I'm like, this isn't going to do it all. And now with quantum, you can give them a lot. In fact, you can give them all the pieces, whether it's a recommendation to go to a chiropractor, right? Like you understand the different pieces, but you're really working at the foundational level. And to me, it's just where I need to be. I need to be at that level. There are many brilliant practitioners that work in those one pieces, and we need them. But for me, I need to like see it all.
Yeah.
A
It's like
holistic approach.
Yeah.
It's the whole interconnection. And I honestly think quantum biology is like naturopathy, like so much. Like I know you said you wanted to be that, but it is like that in a lot of ways. It's just we use a lot less supplementation, I would say. It's all just lifestyle stuff, which is really what naturopathy was before a lot of supplementation came in. So
Yeah.
to me, it makes sense that it's very similar, really, in what you're doing. So, you work with clients like through Zoom, in person. How are you doing that?
Yeah, and it's all online. I use a system called Jane, and so it has video calls, and you can keep your clinical notes and all the files and all that in there.
Hmm.
And then I do a few things, like we'll do some events in person, but they're all in Niagara, Ontario, where doing like some quantum teaching, and then I have a sauna and a cold plunge at my house, so we'll do kind of some stuff like that together. And
Oh, nice.
yeah, most of it's online.
Very cool. Very cool. And what have you seen with your clients? Like what have you seen with them with growth and things like that?
So I think like the most exciting thing to see is when most of the people I see are tired and their blood work is showing as pretty much normal. And they're feeling like they're forgotten, right? Like, because everyone just is like, you're fine, you're fine. And so they're not, and even if they see other health practitioners, it's like never really getting to the root of it. And so as we work together and we really, I do a mentorship to start usually with most people. So that's like a 6 appointments that we teach the different lessons of like quantum foundational stuff. And by the time we've gotten through those and then a few more appointments in, it's like they feel so much better. And they've first of all never heard of this stuff, and second of all their blood work still looks fine, but they feel better. So it's like so satisfying to say I knew something was wrong. So I guess that's kind of my favorite and what I see a lot of.
The labs don't always help us to know exactly what happens that's causing the low voltage. I mean, there might be inflammation, but sometimes that doesn't show up, right? So you use the hair tissue mineral. Sorry.
I was just gonna say, I use a hair tissue analysis. I use Analytical Research Labs, ARL, and I find it really helpful. I like to use it over time with my patients because we see the change and the progress, and it's a good outcome measure for them as well. It will tell, like you guys, I'm sure have seen, it shows, your thyroid, your adrenal, your blood sugar, all of that pre-blood work. So it also is kind of encouraging, is like, you can change this now before it even shows up in your blood work. And it also gives you an idea of why you feel the way you feel. I do also like watching the toxic metals. Oh my gosh, for me, my aluminum was crazy after.
Same here.
Yeah, like a few months of quantum, lots of sunshine, good water, better food. was like I eliminated all my aluminum. Well, hopefully.
So it started, oh, you saw it was high. I was gonna say, have you tested it again? Like, because I
Yeah.
know, like, when we first have redox, we're gonna start pushing things out, right? So did you,
So I tested mine after a few months of doing a lot of sunshine, especially like a lot of learning the quantum stuff. And so I tested it, and my aluminum, my manganese, and my iron were all really high. And so I thought, hopefully I'm in a detox phase, right? Like, because it was my first test. And then by the next one I took, it was all back down.
Awesome. Yeah, that probably was exactly what happened. I've had two hair tissue mineral analysis done before I was doing quantum, and I was a 4 lows pattern both times. So that's how depleted I was twice, even after trying to take supplements, and supplements were not pushing it. I don't know what it would be now. Now I'm like so super curious, but I don't really need it. But like, I wonder if I would still be that 4 lows
Yeah.
pattern. I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think
obviously
so.
no, obviously not. But it was like I couldn't get out of it with the supplementation. Like, it didn't move it. And I wasn't detoxing anything. Nothing was coming out. I was just living in this like super depleted state,
Yeah.
slow metabolism, slow thyroid, all that. So it is interesting. Tell people what that is if they have no idea what a hair tissue mineral analysis is, because we brought it up. Somebody might be like, what even is that?
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like a biopsy test. It's testing a piece of your hair where you have to cut a piece of your hair off right from at your scalp and send it into the lab. What I do is I mail the test kit to the person, who then takes their hair sample and then they mail it to the lab. So it can be done from anywhere. And then the lab gives us back the mineral levels. So you get your like plain mineral levels, let's say, and then you get your toxic metal levels, and then your ratios. And the ratios start to give an indication of what's going on with thyroid function, adrenal, blood sugar. They call one your vitality. So your nervous system, how stressed it may or may not be. So I like to use that as another test, because your blood work often will show normal, and that will show something a little bit out of normal, or maybe a lot out of normal.
Right. And it's testing like the last 3 months, right, of what's been going on in your body, if I remember correctly. So it's more accurate, honestly, than blood work, because I would think, right? Because blood work is like that snapshot in time, like right away, where this is like, okay, this is the last 3 months of what's been going on in your system. So to me, I think like it paints a better picture. Now, I'm curious, like, now when you see that, right? Like, you see those, say, a 4 lows pattern, or the thyroid is off, or you see that the adrenals are off, like, what does it automatically make you think of, as now that you're in the quantum space? Like, like, what does that mean to
Oh,
you now that when you see those things, like someone who's depleted, or someone who has a thyroid issue or a slow metabolism, like, how do you apply that with the quantum strategies?
yeah, like I imagine we gotta think alike here. You're not like, oh, you need more thyroid hormone, or you need more, like, yeah, there's little things that you need, but really you need to improve your energetic charge, like your redox. You need, and so then this is kind of where I blend it. I get very close to like Joe Dispenza stuff. You guys know. I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, we're like essentially on the verge of what he does, because what he does is so you can change your health and everything just with your thoughts, with your mind, right? And we're talking about biology, but it pushes so close to that window of where he's at, because first I'm telling people, okay, what we're trying to do is improve your mitochondrial health, because that will improve your redox and your energetic charge. But really what we're trying to do is improve the water that your mitochondria makes, and we're actually trying to just make you into more of a crystalline water being that has a stronger antenna. And then really what I'm trying to do there is just let the energy flow and the field be stronger, right? So I like the hair test because it's tangible, and we can take some very tangible steps when it comes to, like, movement and food and light, of course, and all of that. And in the end, it's really just their charge that we're trying to improve. And we can see it as an outcome in your hair test better than in blood work. Because like you said, blood work is so stable that once it's not doing well there, it's probably pretty bad. But on your hair test, you have more time, basically, I find.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, when I think of like thyroid or like depleted, I'm like, yeah, the charge is super low. And like, how do we recharge? Well, we got to get back in nature, like get back in
Yeah.
the sunlight, get your grounding in, like, you got to lose the blue blockers, your adrenals are too stressed from all the artificial blue light, your probably too stressed out in life in general and overdoing life, which is true. Like, I mean, I know we talked about that either before we got on or at the beginning. Like, everybody's like overdoing life because of the modern pace that we have to keep up with. And then that really depletes minerals, depletes your charge, depletes everything, right? So, yeah.
And think of the EMFs too, right? Like,
Oh, yeah. Hmm.
they're everywhere.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. I wanted
What
to ask you, oh, go ahead, Heather.
well, I want to know what you've seen in general, like the responsiveness of your clients. How have they received the information when you do the mentorship? And then what changes in general do you see in the beginning of their implementation of those recommendations that you make?
Well, I'm finding that people are only choosing to work with me if they're ready for it. So, which is good because again, when I was in practice, people kind of just go to a chiropractor quite easily, maybe even like recommended by their doctor at that point. Like, you never know. And so they're kind of not terribly invested sometimes. It's more hoping you can fix them instead of them fix themselves, right? And that was hard for me because I want to fix them, but I can't. Like, they do have to fix themselves. And so now I'm finding that those that come to me, they're ready for like a whole new way to look at things. And so it's going well and it's exciting and they're open to what I'm saying, which obviously I need to back it up with science, but there's just so much to say and to teach that sometimes I just have to say, like, we need to source out some structured water for you. And I can't go terribly into it too much right now, but let's get that to start, you know? And they're excited, they'll do it. They want to. And the value of what their body's receiving just because they're willing to do it is so high that, yeah, I'm finding that it's well received and then people are feeling better. And it takes time. It does take time, but not that long actually to feel at least a little bit better, you know? And so I guess that's what I'm finding.
Yeah, it's
Right.
like that quantum effect, right? It happens
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
speed of light, you know, like
And
it can happen pretty quickly.
I'm telling people too, like I'm in, this 41st latitude, I think. So it's pretty far. I'm like, everyone start now because it's going to be spring soon. And as we get into spring
Yes.
and then summer, we're really going to help you to feel better so that you can handle next winter, you know?
Right. Yeah, because the winter's the hardest time really for people with lower redox or struggling with things, right? Because we lack that, beautiful UV light that really is super supportive to our health and
Mhm.
really helps us bring a big charge, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even just going outside, like today it's, well, Celsius, I think is -11. It's like, I'm not even going to go out very long, and I should, but
Yeah.
won't be very long.
It's snowing today. I was out in the I stepped my feet in the snow yesterday twice. I do it a little
Wow.
bit, and then I walked today. It was like literally like 10 degrees. But this I'm having to bundle up. Like, but I go out there, like
Yeah.
I can't be like super cold. Like, but I go out there. I walked about 2 miles today. But you just do the best we can, right? And slowly but surely, each winter you'll get more
Yeah.
ability to tolerate the cold and be out there a little bit longer, I think too. So yeah. I was going to ask you because I know you had a fertility journey, and I was wondering what you think is the cause of all the fertility issues that we're seeing,
Mm.
because it's really rampant and it's really high, and it makes me nervous, like what's going to happen in future generations. But I'm curious, what are your thoughts about what do you think like the cause of this like fertility crisis that's going on right now in the world?
That is a big question.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, I will definitely say I don't know, but I would look to our mitochondria for sure.
Mhm.
Like, they're not probably working well. We're living in a state of stress a lot, and so low redox, but also, high cortisol, low leptin, our sex hormones are going to be like completely diminished. It kind of makes me sad because I feel like, how do we change this? Like,
Yeah.
we change the chronic stress people are in.
Yeah. Well, they come see people like you.
Yeah, I know. It is hopeful, right? Because if we can
Yeah.
help with your biology, with all of the different things that we know and getting back in tune with nature, then you might be able to change other things too, or at least handle them.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I think I really think that if people did the quantum strategies, that fertility would change for sure. It wouldn't be the whole answer probably, but it would be a big contributor.
Yes, that's a really beautiful foundation, you know?
Yeah.
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 And then you can layer it on with other like quantum modalities, whatever that is, like other energy medicines, or even who knows, like chiropractic or acupuncture or homeopathy, or like whatever it is that you can bring in, you know, to support you. Nervous system regulate, like whatever else we need, you know? But yeah, I also think EMFs, of course, are playing a huge role.
See,
Yeah, I really
that is concerning. Like the phones on our bodies, that's probably playing a big part of this too.
I think it's huge. I think it's huge. I mean, I like, I don't have research on it or like, you know, but I
Yeah.
think that's like, that's where my inclination goes
Yeah.
when I
Same.
hear about it. Yeah. And then I think, and each generation is just unfortunately getting weaker and weaker, like due to the fact that we are so disconnected
Mhm.
from nature, from like, and we're so involved in the modern world. So like each generation is like a little bit sicker, and then it's over time weaker mitochondria is passed down and passed down and passed down. And then it's like, okay, now we have people who just can't get pregnant, you know, and it is scary. It is sad. So
Yeah.
yeah, I just was curious since I knew you've been through it. I know such a tough thing. I mean, I have
Yeah.
3 kids myself, and I was very fortunate to get pregnant. Literally, like one of those people, like as soon as I
Yeah.
wanted, I could plan it, and it was like I just planned it, and it just worked for me like right away. So I was
Yes.
blessed that way, but I can't imagine like how challenging that is and how that changes a person. And yeah, so
Yeah.
it's a
I
tough
think like, and I only have the perspective obviously as a woman, but it felt like you're like, isn't this what women are, if you want to, supposed to be able to do? Like, isn't that
Yeah.
kind of the thing? Like, and then I wanted to, and I couldn't, or I would have losses, and it felt
Mhm.
just so hopeless. And you know, a lot of people would say, just need to relax, you just need to go on vacation. And then you do those things, you think, and it doesn't do anything. So it can feel really hard. So I understand. And I remember being in that place where other people would then have children and get pregnant. And I would think, I'm going to be the one that never does. And so I'm grateful that that wasn't my future, but I understand what it's like to be there. And I know how hard it is. And so I do hope and wish that we can find ways to help everyone that would like to get pregnant that can't. Because I
Yeah.
know how it feels. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful.
Are your children on board with any of the practices that you you're
Well, yeah. So they watch Bluey, who's actually orange because our TV screen.
Do you have the same screen I have, or do you have the blue
I
blockers?
just like reddened it actually. I could go in the apps and make it red, kind of like your phone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
But I gotta get the cover like you have. And they have blue blockers. So if they want to watch anything after sunset, I do get them to wear blue blockers. My son gets up, he's almost 5, and he says, "Are we getting up for sunrise?" And so we
Oh
go up
my
for the
goodness.
sunrise most days together, him and
I
I.
love that.
We have red Christmas lights, those red lights from Bon Charge, I think it is. No,
Mhm. Oh,
Midwest.
Midwest has
Yeah,
some.
yeah, I
Mhm.
got their lights. And so in the night, everything's kind of amber and red. So they're like, they're young enough, they're 5 and 7, that
It's
this
good.
is just life for them, you know?
Yeah, it's so much easier to influence them when they're younger like that, because you have like more control, and it's like you can just kind of like
Yeah,
it is easier. It gets harder when they get a little older. I won't deny it, and they get like more in like the world. But
yeah,
yeah, that's really great. I'm glad to see that. And then like that you're doing so much to see now. That's how we change the trajectory, right? Like because those your children are going to be stronger now because of the
yeah.
fact as they get older, because of the fact that you're implementing that. So that's yeah, it's
That's
great.
the hope. And I love like teaching these things. Actually, I'm doing a camp with a friend this summer, a kids camp, and we're going to teach some quantum strategies to the kids.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
we're so it's going to
sounds
be 2 weeks long, but we're going to teach them a lot about light, especially so that they can have their own understanding at like a kid's level.
Mhm.
that's the kind of summer camps we need right there.
Yeah, you
Quantum
know, like
biology summer camp for kids. That would be amazing to change the trajectory of our future of the
Because honestly, once you teach them a little bit about it, they can understand. Like
yeah,
it makes so much like when you teach people about quantum biology, like, well, that just makes sense. Like it literally does. So even kids can be on board with that. You know, they understand it. Like my kids, they know the difference when they don't wear their blue blockers or they don't listen. They're like, oh, I couldn't fall asleep last night. I'm like, well, why
mhm,
not?
Yeah.
You tell me why you couldn't fall asleep, you know? They know. So they don't always want to listen, but they know, you know what I'm saying? So they feel it. So yeah. Yeah, it's good.
You know, that makes me think too of when my kids were really little. So when they were first born, I was doing so many things wrong with light and I didn't even know it. And it's
Yeah.
something that we can introduce to like new moms as well. Like the baby monitor alone was always on. It's bright blue. It was
Ugh.
terrible. I was always worried about them sleeping, right? So I would just have the
Yeah.
monitor after they were out of being with me, but I did that where they went to their own beds. And so that was on. I had a plug beside my head for my phone and the monitor all night. Like
Yep.
I look at some of these things that I was doing and no wonder you feel terrible.
Right. But like most people, they don't even realize that. Like, oh, you didn't know. I didn't know. I did those same things. I had the
Yeah.
baby monitors, all those EMFs, all
Yes.
the time. And also I breastfed and had the scrolling on my phone while
Yeah.
breastfeeding. Like when
Right. Full setting.
yeah,
Yeah.
when you should be in connection with your child, right? Instead, like, but you're not, you're in connection with social media or whatever I was
Yeah.
doing. Like, and I had no idea these things back then. And even my kids, all three of them used this. It was like one of those lights that you look up to fall asleep. They'd like
Oh
watch
yeah.
it as they fell asleep. And it was like, of course, it's blue light. They're like literally
Yeah.
falling asleep to blue light. I was like, if I would have known, but you go in there, you flip all the lights on to change your
Yeah.
diaper in the middle of the night. Like you just don't know these things. Like, so but it's like getting that stuff more mainstream,
Yeah.
how supportive that could be for people,
I
because
know.
yeah, when you're healing from postpartum, right?
Right.
That is
Exactly.
that's like your body has to go through a lot to recover. And it's like, yeah, well, every night if you're sleeping next to your phone and a baby monitor, and then you're literally your sympathetic is up all night long. You can't get into rest and digest, you can't heal, your cortisol's high, like you're just not healing then. And it's like nobody thinks of these things, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
Even
wonder what the rate, sorry, just real quick, like the rate of postpartum depression would be if people had what they needed and they knew what to do. And that would be a great study to do, you know?
Yeah, be part of like postpartum, like
Yeah,
teach,
like if they've had one pregnancy with postpartum and then now well, unfortunately they anticipate it. Maybe that's going to set the stage, right?
yeah.
When we talk about water and consciousness. But then, I mean, maybe Nico's done this. She's writing a book, I hear. I'm like, oh, amazing, Nico Kennedy.
Cool.
Yeah. So, but to see what the difference is all throughout would be
Mhm.
incredible,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm. I think
Preconception.
we had when we had Tina Matthews on our podcast, she was like one of our earlier interviews. She had done that. She is that study.
Hmm.
Like she had kids before quantum biology, and then she had a child where she had like the quantum baby, like, and she did all
Okay.
the quantum practices, and the difference she felt like postpartum was like incredible, and through the pregnancy, if I
Okay.
remember correctly. Go back and scroll, guys, if you're want to listen to that podcast. It was like one like the first like in the first 20, but I think she is that experiment, like in real life. So, yeah.
Really
Do you
good.
plan to have more kids, Erica?
No.
You're done. You're retired.
Believe it
It
or
was
not.
good. I will say, Erica, as from a mom to a mom, 3 put me over the edge.
Yeah, I
Oh,
believe it
2,
would
I
happen.
was like, I was doing all right, and then like the third one, I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna go crazy a little bit. So
I know. I had one. I'm like, okay, I have one child. That's good. And then I had a second. I'm like, I literally can't handle having a third. Maybe, now that I'm healthier,
yeah,
I might have been able, but I'm not taking that chance.
yeah, I hear you. I understand. I felt that way after my third. I was like, I'm definitely done. That's it. Like, I'm good now. We're all set on that.
Yeah. Yeah. And you do get some freedom, right? Once they get a little bit older, you can do more things again. And it's like, I don't want to.
Yeah, you have to go back to that, like back to the beginning, right? It's like starting over again. Yes, 100%. Now you don't use chiropractor or acupuncture or anything else in your practice anymore. Those things you just kind of eliminated. You just
Like me using them personally. Yeah, I've retired, so I don't do any hands-on practice. I've been retired long enough that actually I'd probably have to write my boards if I wanted to go back in. Um, and I don't think I
you
will.
don't have that drive, right? Yeah, it's not something
I
you.
right.
honestly do like the idea of living in Canada in the summer and living somewhere tropical in the winter. So I
Yes,
wouldn't mind
that would be,
keeping an online business.
yes. I
Sounds
think that's
sounds like a
a good
dream.
idea.
Yeah, sounds perfect.
I was just going to ask you about what your dreams are for the future. How do you see this unfolding for yourself? And that's, I hear a little snippet right
Yeah,
there. I think a lot of
yeah.
us dream about, to be
Yeah.
honest, to keep that UV going all year round would be amazing.
And just to be able to go outside,
Yeah.
you bundle up so much. I get like the snow is beautiful and I appreciate it. We have a cottage that we go to up north a little bit further, so it's really wintry when you go there, and it is nice. Like I enjoy it, but I don't know. Sometimes I wonder what the role is of your genetics in some of this, because I'm like half Italian. Like
Mhm. Yeah.
maybe I am really like I haven't never done any of that testing to check, but I feel like maybe I am meant to
Your
receive,
haplotype.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hmm. Yeah.
And-
I have a lot of Italian in me too, which makes me
Yeah.
think like I think I should be in a little bit of a warmer climate.
Yeah, exactly. But
Yeah.
my kids, so if you can believe it, I have a blonde and a redhead, blue-eyed children.
Oh my goodness, that's so
Wow.
funny. I have the same thing. That's so funny that you say that. So I have my first is dark. My first son has dark hair, dark eyes, right? But then my second son, when he was born, he's literally was like carrot orange, and I'm like, what in the
Wow.
world? Where did you come from? And I'm like, and then my
So
third
cute.
is red hair and blue eyes, and I was like, what?
That is so interesting, isn't it?
It is. I mean, I
Right?
know like my husband is Irish, it
Yeah.
comes from Irish descent, so that makes sense. And this is a funny story. I'll say it really quickly. My grandmother, who used to tell a lot on my father's side, she used to tell a lot of stories, so nobody ever believed anything she said because she was a storyteller. So
Uh,
she always would say that my father had red hair as a baby, and she could never prove it because it was black and white pictures, right? So maybe she was actually telling the truth with that one.
It probably was, actually.
It's just a funny story.
But I have a theory that those kids, our kids, are better optimized for sunlight or for the cold, sorry. I mean, like the winter, right?
Yes.
And so they are actually, I'm wondering if we're like building a new breed of people that can handle the cold.
Mm,
Moved here at whatever point, but now our bodies are changing over generations and generations to actually do better in these like northern latitudes.
yeah. Yeah. Well, my youngest son loves the cold. He would literally go out in no like in the snow with no coat on. Like he's like loves the cold. He just cold plunges. It's not, I'm not even joking. He will do cold plunges with my brother, like, and he loves it. And he's like, he just loves
how
it.
old is he? 8?
He just turned 9 and
Oh my
he
gosh.
loves cold plunges. It's so funny.
Amazing.
But he's got red hair
Mhm.
and blue eyes, so it's just so funny. Like it's funny. But yeah, taught them about their freckles because they had a lot of freckles. I'm like, this is your melanin storage, right?
Yeah.
So you build a lot of freckles in the summertime, and then your body's going to use those freckles and absorb the melanin from those freckles in the winter, which is exactly what happens. They get very freckly in the
Yeah.
summer, and then in the winter it goes away, and their body's using that melanin, which honestly I think that is so cool. Yeah,
Amazing.
yeah, it's like brilliant. So yeah. So, as we're coming to the end here, Erica, like, do you have any like parting words of wisdom, like practical tips you want to share with people, like of how they can like support their health now?
Mm, I just do it. Like this is my you're probably sitting there like, oh, I have people that are like, oh, the hardest part is getting the blue blockers, or I just really don't want to get up for sunrise. They're hard things in a small way. They are hard. I get it. But just do it because it really can make such a big difference in not that long of a time. And it's worth feeling better to really know like how you were feeling before isn't that great. Now you feel better and it didn't take that much. So just
Mm.
kind of add it consistently, start doing the things.
And it doesn't take that long before it becomes something we crave. Like now that I'm sick right now, I'm like, I want to sleep in a little bit. No, it's not never happening. I'm like going to be up and out at sunrise with 2 down jackets on because it was 16 degrees this morning,
Yeah.
but I
Yeah.
will see the sunrise. So I mean, I don't want to miss it.
Yeah.
I know that
It's
it
cool.
feels so good and it's going to make me feel better, get better faster too.
Yeah, and it just becomes so like innate. Like I literally, clients will say, "Will you get up for sunrise every day?" I'm like, "Uh-huh." I just naturally wake up before, like I'm up before the sun every day, and I travel with our RV sometimes to different locations, and I still wake up with the sun even if the time zone is different. I'm like, okay, this is it for life. Like just waking up with the sun forever. Like you just become so aligned that it
Yeah.
just like impossible. And
Yeah.
like I'm tired at night, like it's just that's how it is. Like so, yeah, Yeah, just do it. I love that. Just go for it. And
Stole that.
yeah, somewhere, right?
I've heard it before.
Yeah, but seriously, like I always also tell clients too, like if you have like a problem with the blue blockers, just try it. Like get a cheap pair and just try
Yeah.
it and you will see a difference and you'll be like, "Oh, actually, this actually does help and I will use these forever."
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
yeah.
I
All
love
right,
that.
well, tell people where they can find you and work with you and yeah. Thanks.
My website, drericam.com, Instagram at drericam. That's it. Find me there. Always message anytime. I love chatting, quantum anything. So anyone can always connect and we'll just have more conversations.
Well, it's
Beautiful.
been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah.
Erica, thank you so much for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing what amazing things that you create in the future through the quantum biology lens. So thank you.
Both. I'm so appreciative.
Yeah. Thank you. I